саме в своєму житті. Тому що коли вони є, ти постійно думаєш, а от ти можеш це слово це написати, чи не можеш?
Моя мама вже змирилася. Вона мене за оце, я знаю, що зараз буде. Тобі гроші вислати на нормальне життя.
Свої слова мусить не брати в обережно. Я вмію писати.
Добрий день, працює медіа-центр Україна.
Good afternoon, Ukraine Media Center Ukraine Forum starts its operation. My name is Vasil Samkhvalo, and now we will be talking about the super topic. It's called 33,000 laptops for the armed forces of Ukraine. So who will be getting those laptops? Where are they going to be gotten from, and where are they going? We will find out from our guests. So let me introduce them. Evelina, Kurilets, Director at Razom for Ukraine Charitable Foundation. Vladislav Tymoshenko, Major Officer of the Department for Determining the Needs for Weapons and Military Communications Equipment of the Department for Planning of the Provision of Communications Equipment and Property of the Main Directorate of Communications and Cybersecurity of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Well, quite a prolonged name, I would note. Hennadii Zabolotnyi, Coordinator of the project 33,000 laptops for the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and Oleksii Zakharchenko, Communications Director at Razom for Ukraine Charitable Foundation, Head of the Mass Agency Communications Agency. Good afternoon, everybody. So let's start with Miss Evelina, who will tell us about this initiative, how did it come up, and what is it about. Well, the main goal of the initiative is to ensure the proper number of laptops. Hopefully we can get more of them. The critical need was 8,000, but that's the threshold, the critical threshold. We oriented through 33,000, and that will allow, well, it's not about equipment, it's not about hardware, it's about tools that will allow the armed forces to operatively solve the task, improve the efficiency of communications, and improve the transparency of our armed forces. I'm a representative of the civil sector, and quite frequently during the meetings with the donors, representatives with other civil organizations, different types of forces all around the world, I keep asking my questions, and they have very classy tool that I would call, that's called lessons learned. What can you use? What are the lessons learned? So I was asking them about Ukraine, and they were saying the two most powerful tools that we can use really to solve the international conflicts, humanitarian catastrophes in Ukraine are the two tools which are incredibly powerful: civil sector and digitalization. And now we ended up in a situation when the civil sector extends the lend in hand, ensuring this digital aspect functionality. And these 2 years, they demonstrated that digitalization is not about the speed of transferring information. It's about efficient communication, it's about transparency and movement of all that aid which is going to Ukraine, which is important for our donors, those who make decisions on allocation the aid for Ukraine. You just imagine the amount of operations fulfilled by our defenders. They call them UPA, Ukrainian Paper Army, but we have to proceed to new tools. We have to switch to new tools. We, as a foundation, we support the systemic changes. We say that there are 5 areas of our work. One is advocacy. Just recently, we were witnessing the end of the Ukraine Action Summit, the change of interest for advocacy of Ukraine. If we talk about health, those are the systemic changes in healthcare system. If we talk about heroes, those are the systemic changes too. So we put the most emphasis on saving lives. We've made the whole circle of life saving. We procure the tactical medicine devices. We procure transfer for evacuation of our defenders, the stabilization points where they will be provided the emergency aid, and this golden hour will be kept. But we understand that behind all those processes there's a lot of paperwork, bureaucracy. But that's exactly what ensures the transparency and loyalty to our armed forces and our defenders. That's why we understand the importance of this. This is why we've initiated this project. We appreciate the input of initiatives who were already implementing projects like this. They help us with their expertise so we don't step over their rake, so to say. The donors outside, they understand the importance of the project, they want to support us, and we are already in negotiations with them, and we incredibly appreciate the input of the armed forces for the expertise, for the information that they provide and they share, because for us it's about the efficiency of this aid, to what extent it will be efficient in its operation. A number of well, I was preparing 2 stories for this press conference. I'm an accountant by education, and a number of my classmates, they are in the forward edge. Some of them are in the headquarters, some of them are in the trenches, but those in the headquarters, they don't have anything to work with, like our drivers go directly to the forward edge delivering the aid, and we were witnessing it multiple times. I cannot send you the acceptance certificate. We don't have the printer to print it out, like, and it creates the delay of day 1 and 2. But imagine how many human lives are behind those days without those like evacuation transport, without the medikits. Yeah, it may look dry on the paper, it's a hardware, it's a notebook, but that's something that first of all makes us transparent, makes us quick in those processes that we ensure, and improves the efficiency of our communication. And I would like to give the floor probably to Vlad with a lot of appreciation for his information, for his expertise. We work on a number of projects with him, and it helps us demonstrate better results. So let me ask Mr. Vladislav, where did this figure 33 come from? What is the exact need? Maybe there are some specific technical requirements, because the notebook and notebook may be different. Well, yes, there is a specification defined and developed by the main Directorate of Communications of the General Staff that would cover the basic needs of the security and defense forces. If we talk about notebooks specifically, we're talking about processor i3, at least of 10th generation. I would say this is the basic requirement. SSD type drive, at least 256 gigabytes capacity. The RAM should be at least at 8 gigabytes. I always use at least because it may be more than that. Well, those are the good requirements. Well, it could be more, it could be equal, sometimes it could be a little bit less, because the type of tasks that are being fulfilled are maybe different. So if we talk about some administrative function, like a computer of the level of say typewriter, it would be enough. But if we talk about the battle control systems, we will need more powerful, better configuration. So if we need to maintain the picture from the stream, we need a video adapter from Zoom. Yeah, situational awareness, streams, everything related to defense and security of the critical infrastructure facilities, for example, or defense of the positions. And the requirement in amount of 33,000, it was collected based upon the request from the military units. So we were getting reports like quarterly. We gather such information on quarterly basis, and this is where we derive this figure from. Well, and everything that is related to deployment of information and communication system, this is something new for the armed forces of Ukraine within the last years, but it will significantly improve the process of automating of battle and the troops control and management. So basically of all of the units from the lowest to the highest level, so we can talk about like medical system, for example, or we can talk about some property accounting system. We can talk about logistics support, all of the processes of operations of the troops, communications between, say, let's make an analogy between the soldier and commander. So we should completely dump this paper army. Evelina is completely right about that, because all of those processes may be taking place in automated space with the use of information communication system, development and implementation of which is going on right now. But the final result is basically the notebook, the laptop. Well, the configuration may include printer for printing, obviously, and the exchange of some service related information, or like putting together the reports, the requests. It can all be happening right on your workplace. So the idea is to reject this procedure of moving the commander from one point to another to cover some basic needs of their units, because when the commander is absent, the control over the troops is lost, and we cannot talk about the readiness, battle readiness under conditions like this. So having gathered all the applications and requests from the security and defense forces, we've come up with that figure that is calculated in a way to expand the deployment of communication and information systems. The 33,000 laptops in general will be enough for the first time to cover certain level of automation, because if we talk about state budget, the state budget does not contemplate either deployment or expansion of information and communication systems. So the state budget is aimed at supporting the existing information communication networks, and we cannot do more about that. This is why we've initiated such a project as 33,000 laptops for the Armed Forces of Ukraine in coordination with the Razom for Ukraine Charitable Foundation. I incredibly appreciate the fact that they support our initiative. I appreciate all of the help that they provided to us earlier, and they continue to, and we expect further cooperation. I would like to add, to put some important emphasis, we're not talking about the replacement of material. We're talking about something that we add. The need is so high that we talk about adding those computers to the armed forces. So I understand you've gathered the requests, the reports, you've summed them up, and you've come up with this figure, 33,000. So we don't talk about any replacement of existing material. We talk about adding those 33,000 laptops, and that will be 100% staffing. So we were talking about different sectors like headquarters, forward dash, for those, for something for medics, something for logisticians. Do we have any figures? How should we allocate those 33,000? Well, to cover the needs, for example, of the medical information system, we talk about 4,500 sets. And for example, if we talk about logistic management, the need there reaches about 25,000, because there is understanding of deployment of this system from tactical to strategic level. So we cover all of the sector with this need. In the same way, so for the time being, there is already information and communication system existing for accounting of personnel that will be implemented in the territorial staffing centers so to add to the already existing system. So the need of theirs is about 500 devices, but again, that matters. It also needs certain attention, and at the expense of financial reallocation of existing funding, we're not gonna make it, because if we reallocate those funds, it will be a significant blow to the system of system of communications. So we cannot sacrifice one thing for the sake of another, and no one would accept it. We're not gonna do it. This is why we've created a number of such programs related to implementation of information and communication system that will allow ensuring automation of all of the existing processes. Thank you very much. Mr. Hennadii will probably tell us about how and where are they gonna get those machines from. So we've developed the procedures for delivery of the laptops both from Ukraine and from the United States of America. One of the interesting differences is that we are going to get the United States engaged in this initiative as one of the most powerful markets where this computer equipment is used. And in view of the technical requirements, there's a lot of such equipment. So let's start with the United States. The delivery from the United States is going on in the following way. We have this Velox company with whom we work for a long time, and they will serve as a hub storage, like a collection point, and as it's being filled, we will ship the goods to Ukraine. So in America, it's pretty plain and simple. Anybody can use the available services like FedEx or whatever is available for those people in their area and send the goods at the address that is specified in our website. After that, the equipment comes over here, and then it will be inspected. I think Vlad will tell us better about that. It will undergo technical examination, maybe reconfigured to a certain extent, or maybe there will be some software installed. And in Ukraine, first of all, we would like to address legal entities. First of all, it's related to some specifics of the legislation about integrity and charity. So we will mostly work with the legal entities. The legal entities are capable of handing over the laptops in any available way, in any available method. Get in touch with us, and we can get them back from them by ourselves if it's somewhere within Kiev or Kiev region. Also, they can be shipped by Nova Poshta, the new post. We want to thank them for their partnership in a number of projects, and they got involved in this initiative too. Nova Poshta is going to help us with the delivery of the goods to our facilities. So in the same way, on the website there is an address where the laptops can be shipped to. If someone wants to do it with the Nova Poshta service. And for the Kievites, we've indicated the address in Podil district where you can just bring your laptop to and turn it into one of our offices. So now that you've slowly switched to communication, I suggest we pass the floor to Oleksii. So how do the Ukrainians find out about this? How it will be communicated in the United States of America? Because we've now realized that there is a huge bet on American market. Well, just for everybody's understanding, we're talking not about only new laptops, but also about the used ones. So whoever does things professionally, like for their job, they replace the old notebooks with the new ones every like 3 years. So we urge everybody not to store all that hardware in their balconies or pantries. So just bring them to us. So how should people find the information about this initiative? Just Google a couple of words like 33,000 notebooks, and right away you are gonna see a number of links that will lead you to our website, the website of Razom for Ukraine, and there will be all the information in a comprehensive way provided about how to deliver the notebooks, how to ship the notebooks in Ukraine, in the United States. So what are our further steps? We understand that every single, well, people are having hard times currently, so people are probably not going to buy the laptops. So first we want to address the IT companies, the big trade networks, trade chains that deal in trade of notebooks, to the official manufacturers of the computer brands in Ukraine, and we will launch the same process in parallel in the United States. The first step is the official communication, official requests, official letters at the highest level with those companies. Another, the most efficient, something that works best usually. We have a lot of friends, a lot of generally Ukrainians who are not indifferent, who work as who not indifferent to the problems of Ukraine, who work on top positions in different companies, and we will ask them to spread this information inside of their companies, inside of their friendly gatherings, that there is such information, and we hope it will allow us collect like 10-20 laptops that they will be able to ship us both from the United States and from Ukraine. Yet another method that we are going to use, we will ask the influencers in the United States, both in the Silicon Valley, like celebrity IT guys, to probably also to some Hollywood stars with whom we communicate, or like famous Ukrainians who will just tell about this project, because that's the maximum humanitarian project where everybody can get involved, everybody can make their humanitarian contribution to the digitalization and saving lives. The rapidness of actions of the Ukrainian troops who are fighting the unequally big Russia. And I want to address all of the Ukrainians all around the world. We have 20 million Ukrainians living outside Ukraine, and each of them, they have some community around them. There's a lot of Ukrainians living in Silicon Valley and in Australia, like from Silicon Valley to Australia, all around the world. This is why we're going to try to find the Ukrainians all around the world. Just please tell this story everywhere, in the United States, in Europe, in Australia, in different communities who are indifferent or not indifferent in relation to Ukraine. So this humanitarian action should become a holistic idea, because there was no precedent of collecting 33,000 laptops in Ukraine. That's the first time, and we hope that we are going to make it. We hope that our idea will work in this case. Also, there is an option of donating for notebook. If you're a successful IT guy, you have like the most up-to-date cutting-edge laptop, you can just send any type of currency, dollars, yuan, British pound, or even cryptocurrency, So based on the recommendations of our colleagues from the armed forces, we will procure the notebooks with relevant configurations. So just Google 33,000 laptops and you will end up in our website. We urge you to spread the information, to visit our website, communicate it to everybody you know, donate, and make our army, our armed forces, the most digitalized possible. Well, it's clear. I'm having another question, probably to Vladislav. I've heard whether we can ship used notebooks. So, how the acceptance will be going on? Is it going to be accepted by the army or by the charity foundation? Like, how to identify if the notebook is used, for example, whether it's still good or not, whether it complies with the required configuration. And another question, are there any concerns about the country of manufacturing or some operation systems? What are the advice? Well, it's three questions in one. So should the person reset it to the factory settings, or you can just ship whatever you want and you're gonna clear it all by yourself? So talking about software, well, it's desirable to have Windows, well, because it's a basic thing, like a basic platform we all work on, something that we face on a daily basis. Talking about the compliance of configuration, I think that this work will be organized jointly by us and the foundation, and using the joint effort we will set it up, how all those things are gonna happen, and handover and organization of logistics directly to the military units, to the troops generally, because they are the end user basically of these type of devices. So all those issues will be solved gradually as the project develops. So another question, is there gonna be a public checklist, like it should be equipped with a battery with at least 8 hours duration, like we should have this SSD drive? Is there the list of configuration requirements to check whether that hardware that I keep in my balcony, whether it complies with the requirements? So we have a small excerpt from our website made as a notebook for physical dissemination, but it contains all of the details, all of the technical characteristics. And everywhere it says just make sure those are the minimal requirements, because receiving something that is outdated, yes, definitely the guys can use it for Excel or Word, but generally we urge everybody, once again, I'm addressing as guys from Nova Poshta were telling them, they've opened the new fundraiser to deliver some new equipment. So the people were sending both bricks and pickles, like feeling that they should ship at least something for free. So don't ship the pickles, please ship the hardware with the minimum requirements. We will appreciate it. We understand that the Armed Forces of Ukraine and our foundation, we have the maximum transparency and accountancy, and accepting some trash like a broken notebook, well, it should be a bad word, but if it's like outdated or it's too weak, so probably better don't send it. Well, we have questions on the floor. Good afternoon, Marina Shenkarenko. I represent the information agency Ukrinform. The question is as follows: can we mention what are the brigades who submitted the biggest number of requests, whether they are in the front lines or in the rear? Well, the need is generalized for the whole of the security and defense forces, and any command of any branch and force, they have this need. We cannot segregate the biggest or the smallest one. I don't think we need to do it because everybody needs them, like with no exception, with no segregation by branch or force, because the end users of the software are everybody. Well, look, I'm being realistic, so when we were saying who is gonna be responsible for the check of the hardware, I was thinking, like, if one day there will be 33,000 laptops falling on me on one day, I will find an IT company who are going to inspect it. But let's be realistic. It will be a planned gradual supply. There will be shipments. We will prepare shipments from the States if there will be any in certain amount. And the same is about the needs. We've mentioned the minimum needs, but we don't know what is gonna come. It can be something that complies with the minimum requirement, or maybe something more powerful. So when we talk about the interaction, cooperation of civil sector, government organizations, volunteers, we're talking about the most efficient use of this computer. Maybe that computer may be ideal for, like, we have our CRM system, and when we get the request, so basically through this CRM system we procure it, we deliver it to the storage facilities, and we ship it to the end user. So if there is a need in the brigade, they just add it to their CRM system, and there is this need on the level of medical forces, cybersecurity, and communications, everybody. This is what we want it to look like. This is why we're gonna make everything possible and impossible to make sure that the proper laptops end up in proper hands. Thank you very much. Then I'm having another small question. Probably you've already set a goal for yourself, like within which period you're going to gather those 33,000 notebooks. Well, I want them. Well, that's a very correct question, because this is exactly what I was going to ask. When is the beginning and when is the planned end of this wonderful campaign? Well, we've started already. We were already in negotiations before that. You see, we've already prepared certain materials and so on to finalize it. Well, we don't have any temporary project. For example, our TechMed project, we were hoping, it's not like we were hoping for 2 or 3 weeks, but somewhere deep inside my soul, like, we were waiting for it, and in March, the TechMed was already in the storage facilities, and it goes on for 2 years now. So if we cover at least 8,000, and then we will aspire to 33,000, but then there's gonna be another benchmark of 20,000 more. But then we're gonna talk about the update of the hardware and software for full replacement. Like, we cannot state any deadlines. Probably it's not gonna be a long-term 1-year project, and we're gonna raise the money until I get gray. But let's set a goal in half a year for us, and then we'll see what happens. Well, if we don't have any more questions on the floor, I would like to ask you about the peripheral devices like scanners, I don't know, communications modules, printers, because on top of laptop you need to find internet somewhere. So are there going to be any additional options, and how can they be added to this project? Well, we're working with some technical equipment related to communications, modems, and other types of equipment. So currently we're only talking about notebooks, but if you are an IT company or an office who decided to just upgrade their hardware and software, you have certain number of printers, we will either help you or we'll be able to get you in touch with those who have such need, and it's not only related to hardware. Thank you very much. If we don't have any questions on the floor, let's wrap up. We wish you to get your laptops as soon as possible, so they both work for headquarters as the typewriters, and there will be bits for drone pilots. And we continue at 2 o'clock, and we will talk about the taxes. See you shortly.